Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Maria Sorreo. We are here today at Green Hills Memorial Park on Memorial Day to remember the men and women who serve and have served to keep our country safe.
I come from a family that has always, every generation, somebody has served in the military, going back to my great-grandfather in the Spanish-American War, grandfather, World War I. My father, who's 88 years old, I just spoke to him yesterday, World War II. My older brother is a Marine in Vietnam. And myself, as an Army officer, I served overseas inside the Korean DMZ in the 1970s after college.
It's kind of interesting when you look around you. We see a lot of older people, but now younger people, because we have people serving now, and we have lost people as well in the last 10 years.
We've got a lot of people serving now. I mean, today, even though I served in the Army, I'm wearing my Navy hat. I just went camping with a bunch of scouts over the weekend, and one of the fathers, who's a USC graduate, was a Navy SEAL for 6 years. So I'm wearing my Navy hat in honor of him. He's quite a leader of young men himself, and it was great to have the boys around him this weekend.
When we look around, we see so many people from our own community out here, of course, to remember, which is so important.
Rancho Palos Verdes has got a very large number of veterans, young people that are currently serving on active duty. And one of the great things about my job on the city council is that I get an opportunity to meet them and learn about them and hear their stories, and it's always motivating for me to be able to meet these other people that have really sacrificed a lot. I mean, I served also, but I am frequently reminded that while I was on active duty, there's a lot of young people right now from the South Bay, from Palos Verdes, that are serving overseas that are really putting in hard work away from their families, away from their kids, their wives. And today's an important day to remember those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. That's what Memorial Day is about. Veterans Day is to honor all those that have served, but Memorial Day is to honor those that have died during wartime.
This is in memory of the people that sacrificed their lives for our nation, and actually helping other people in other parts of the world fight tyranny and aggression in their own countries. So it's it's a solemn day, but it's a day of honor for those people that really put their lives on the line for us.
I think that we sort of all grew up in a time where our parents, grandparents were, veterans and went to war, and now we're sort of back there again, and a lot of younger people remembering that.
Yes, that's true. That's true. My generation the Vietnam War was a big thing, and there's other wars going on now. And on one hand, I think it's the duty of the policymakers to avoid military conflict when possible, but when all else fails, we have nothing else left. I want to make sure we don't forget the families of those that are left behind when they lost a loved one, that we provide for them and know they are continually sacrificing themselves every day. And also our veterans that come back that may be injured or they need help in the country back here. So it's part of that too. It's a larger picture, but we really need to keep in mind the families of those that have lost someone and the veterans that come back.
Well, not only my family, but being an Air Force Academy graduate, I have many friends that serve. And actually, Memorial Day, we not only remember those that serve, we remember those that perished in the service of our country. And I have several close friends of mine, including my roommate during my freshman year at the Academy, who was one of the first individuals I knew that passed away in the service of our country. And I'd like to mention his name, Michael Norman Ayotte. These are difficult times when you remember good guys like that who died and sacrificed for our country and our freedom.
And I think you make it very personal, Jerry, because you see families that are here and their loss is so great, and that's what they're thinking about today.
More so than it's we understand soldiers die, and that's part of the duty. But when you really talk to families and actually hear what they're going through, it really brings it home and brings it to heart. As you might imagine, someone losing a father, a brother, a son, it really is it's a difficult thing, and we need to remember those people and honor them for their sacrifice.
Do you remember growing up and this day being very special as well?
Absolutely. You know, my father served in the Army, in the military, and I was always taught to honor those that sacrifice. My father was big on service before self, and it's something that we as a family really relished.
You know, we honor our fallen warriors, the people who really are the ones who made this a free country, you know, by giving their ultimate sacrifice. And, you know, it's such a beautiful ceremony here at Green Hills in Rancho Palos Verdes. The weather's always beautiful. The ceremony is always wonderful and moving. And I think that, you know, majority of Southern Californians come to this event just because of the emotion that you get and just the atmosphere here.
I think for such a long time, you know, we expect to see a lot older people here, you know, people that have lost people, but now with what's going on all over the world, I think it really touches all ages.
But of course, Maria, it does. It touches everyone of every age. I mean, it's just wonderful to see younger people involved as well. It is very moving, and I think people want to bring younger people here, and younger people want to be involved just because of what Memorial Day is and the remembrance that we need to have for those fallen warriors.
And it's great to be with our active duty servicemen, women, our veterans, family, and friends of our fallen soldiers on this special day of remembrance and gratitude. Thank you for allowing me to join you. You know, Memorial Day weekend is a time to gather with our families and our loved ones for barbecues and family functions. But let's not forget the true significance of this holiday. On this day, we come together as Americans to pay tribute and honor the commitment of our brave servicemen and women who have paid the ultimate sacrifice to defend this great nation. We owe our country's freedom and safety to the willingness and courage of our armed services and veterans who have answered this sacred call of duty. And today, and it should be every day, that we thank the parents, the children, the husbands, the wives, and the brothers and sisters who have sacrificed and endured hardships at the cost of our rights and freedoms. Those that you have lost, we honor today. And I think today is a day that we should also take time to reflect on what we can do better as a nation to support our current veterans and their families. Just last week on National Maritime Day, we recognized and honored the U.S. merchant mariners who served during World War II, many thousands of whom died delivering the arsenal of democracy over the seas to the battlefields of Europe and the Pacific. Merchant mariners died at a higher rate in World War II than any uniformed service, but unfortunately, these veterans have not received the same benefits afforded to other veterans in the GI Bill that helped millions of our veterans go to college, secure a home, and transition seamlessly into civilian life. That's why last week, I introduced a bill that will provide a modest stipend of $1,000 to the nearly 10,000 surviving World War II mariners, a recognition and benefit that they rightly deserve. As your member of Congress, I will continue to fight for the rights and protections of our brave men and women. And I believe on a day like today, we should always continue to pray that we bring all wars to an end. Let's bring our men and women home safely. Thank you. God bless you. God bless America.
I would like to call Mayor Pro Tem from the City of Rancho Palos Verdes, Jerry Duhovich, who will lead us in our pledge.
I would ask my fellow councilmen to join me up here, please. Good morning. It truly is an honor and a privilege for me to be here today. Mayor Brooks sends her regards, but I truly have the honor of representing the city along with my fellow councilmen, Anthony Mizitich, Councilman Jim Knight, and Councilman Brian Campbell joining us here today. The flags today are being raised by the Boy Scouts along with Councilman Buscaino, 15th District. Also Boy Scouts from Senator Ten Liu's district, and representing the POW and MIA faction, Boy Scouts, and Mr. Dave Albert. Ladies and gentlemen, as we remember all of our fallen heroes, please join me in pledging allegiance to the greatest flag and the greatest country in the world. Please place your right hand over your heart and join with me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? I'd like to take the liberty very briefly of honoring two special people to me personally. I'm an Air Force Academy graduate, and my roommate my freshman year and another very good friend of mine both died very young in service to our country. And I'd just like to state their names and let them know that I haven't forgotten them, and all of you good people will remember them also. Michael Norman Ayotte and Randy Roby. Thank you for your service. Thank you.
I am supposed to tell you, point out to you that all of our VIPs and elected officials are listed in a program. We have a very special page, and they provide tremendous support to us, many of them sitting up in these front rows, and including State Senator Ted Lieu and his wife, Betty. So I would like all of you to give our elected officials that are true patriots themselves and all the people here a round of applause, if you would, and look at their names in the program. I was driving around here early this morning, and I knew the 21st Century guys were here because I could see all the white hairs, and these guys have been jumping since I was a kid. And then the second group down was Force SEAL Team, and I was getting worried about who was going to be our keynote speaker this year, but I see him coming down right now. So.
Coming home to where my heart has always been. All past time, right. I'm coming home to see you again. To be alive, find your way. Take the pain. Seeing your face.
You can pretty much tell which team they are by the older look, and then these buffer guys right up here in the front, you know, they're the SEAL team. So, and then of course you can read about Dana in our program, and we'll hear from him in a little bit. So let's give him another round of applause. So. Memorial Day, you know, was started so that we would always remember and honor the men and women that didn't come home. But, you know, over the years and the various wars we've had, we've been blessed with a sense of new technology, and the ability to get to our injured sooner is saving lives. But those lives are changed forever. Sometimes the ones in Afghanistan and Iraq, I mean, they're surviving what would have been fatal injuries back in Vietnam and Korea for sure, and definitely they would have never made it in World War II. So we're bringing them back, and we're pleased to have them back. We're pleased that we can do this for them. But my view, and having had the opportunity to meet so many of them, is that the life they knew and the lives their families knew ended at that same moment. But they've had a resurgence. They've come back to us. So I want to celebrate their lives and celebrate their service, but I want to say that I think over the years we have to look at Memorial Day as a little bit different, with a different perspective, that we have to say that as all of the men and women who've served, we see the problems they're facing, their lives are just torn up. It's not like the great, you know, generation. You know, we've come back and faced problems, and we've overcome, and we've reached high spots in this country, and we've built our economy and all these other things I'll let other people talk about. But Dana, as you read, injuries didn't come from combat. It did come, though, and he was in the service of his country, and I think he stands for these men and women. He's able to be here now and show them what they can do when they're just now trying to figure out how their lives are going to go on. So let's please welcome our own Iron Man, Dana Bowman.
I'll tell you, jumping from that plane, another dangerous mission. You think about that, the chances and the choices we have in life. It's important. Think about what our troops, our soldiers, our warriors are doing for us each and every day. They are landing on target. Well, we fellowship with our friends, our colleagues, our officers, our police officers, our firemen, the Boy Scouts, the Cub Scouts, the service members, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard. You look great. I want to thank you for inviting us out here. You know, I've had opportunity to be able to fly all over the country and be able to continue in the United States military after my tragedy. But you know what to tell you? Patriotism has traveled this world, our forefathers and what they have done for us. It's important to remember. We have opportunity to be able to go into these schools and to be able to educate our young kids. What type of a message are we trying to portray to our young kids today? teaching them about what our forefathers have done for us each and every day, like our recipients of the Medal of Honor. Without that, we wouldn't have our freedom. Each and every day, we pray that we can live another day safer in our country, in the USA. And it should make you all proud to be American, because it does for me, and I know this team. My first time jumping with 21st Century Parachute Team, which is incredible, and I look at some of the guys and the gals that had joined along, helping out on the ground and up in the air. Some of them were in the Special Forces with myself. We were there as a team. You think about it, one team, one voice. It's right here to celebrate a celebration on Memorial Day. What a better place to be to the American public, to help and show, maybe hope to the despondent, courage to the timid, and strength to the weak on what we do each and every day. A little mission that happened to myself and my Special Forces team when I was in, and it goes something like this. On December 20th, 1989, my Special Force unit was to secure the McCord River Bridge and deny enemy access, where the Rangers and 82nd Airborne had mounted an effective assault. We're on our way, 3 MH-60 helicopters and our 24-man element. Within minutes, we're over the objective. Within seconds, one man jumped into the road, found a light anti-tank weapon at the oncoming vehicles of the enemy convoy. This did not stop the enemy convoy. We then launched the mother of all anti-tank weapons, the AT-4. Now, this did in fact stop the enemy convoy. After firing stopped, myself and my partner moved the bridge to place Claremore mines. As I was in place in the first Claremore mine, I saw 3 enemy soldiers within 15 meters of my position. I then rolled into the road, find at point-blank range, killing 1 and wounding 2. Nevertheless, preventing General Manuel Noriega's most loyal unit, Battalion 2000, from interfering or reinforcing any ongoing combat operations in Panama. My highest award in the Special Forces was a Bronze Star with a V device for my actions on the McCord River Bridge, but it couldn't compare to what I have today. In 1993, I joined the U.S. Army's parachute team, the Gold Knights, at the home of the airborne. They consist of 84 men and women, and they make up the different military occupational skills known to me and you as jobs. While practicing a maneuver in Yuma, Arizona, not too far from here, on a day just like this, myself and my partner were performing that maneuver called the Diamond Track. We exited aircraft at 12,500 feet. We flew away from each other, gaining speeds of right around 300 miles an hour. We turned around at a pre-designated altitude, 7,500 feet, and we flew back towards each other. Our objective was to cross safely to altitude of 35 to 4,500 feet above the ground, open our parachutes up, come down, and land. On that cross, on that pass, myself and my partner collided in midair. A midair collision that took the life of my teammate and both of my legs. You know, a lot of things about these tragedies, accidents, and diseases, they're unexplainable. We cannot give up. Our guys and gals have paid that ultimate sacrifice for each and every one of us, and we have to remember to bring that American flag in them for them here in our country and show them. I know we have a lot of heroes in here, and we want to thank you for being a very warm and receptive crowd. And I'd like to do one little presentation here, and I would like to thank each and every of our veterans. Let's give our veterans a great big hand. Oh, we have a World War II veteran here today, the 5th Division, Red Diamonds, and he was under General Patton. We'd like to ask Angel Buenuelas to come up here, please. Age 90 years old. Angel, we had an opportunity to be able to jump a coin in for this event here, 21st Century Force Parachute Team, the guys and gals that made this true, to be able to come in here. You know, it's important for this day not to forget and always to remember our heroes, especially for the ones that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. And I'm sure Angel can tell us a lot of those different stories out there. We try to cherish our guys and gals as long as we can to give them. Well, believe it or not, this coin that I have in my hand will be given to you, and it started back in World War II. Something that was given for a great job that they've done, maybe from the commander, maybe from General Patton.
Who knows?
Who knows? on this coin that we had the opportunity to be able to jump in with the whole team up there, just thinking about this moment, because it goes by too quick. It has a spade on it, and the spade encompasses the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, and the Coast Guard. It says Enduring Freedom, Joint Special Operation Command. On the backside of this coin, it has 3 shields on it. The Port Authority, the Police Department, the Fire Department of New York helped us to be able to put these coins together to give to the men and women that had paid the ultimate sacrifice. It also says in here, Angel, September 11th, 2001, United We Stand. I'd like to present this to you, and I want to thank you for your hard work, your dedication to our country.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. This is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful to be around. All you veterans are my brothers. All of you are my brothers. I love all of you. I can't never understand how those dummies attacked us thinking they were going to beat us. No way. No way. Never. This country will be free for as long as we have Americans like us. You bet.
Cool. Again, you think about it, folks. On closing remarks here from the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, and the Coast Guard. The Republicans, the Democrats, and the undecided. At the end of the day, we all bleed the same way. It does not matter. My hat goes off to each and every one of you, especially you, Angel. I give you a great big salute. Cool. From the bottom of our hearts, 21st Century Parachute Demonstration Team and the Force Parachute Team would land on target and leave you with this last thought. For the rest of the day, may all your days be blue and your nights golden. Thanks again. Hooah!
Yeah.
Speaking of service and everything, back in March I had the opportunity to be part of what's called a pro-advocacy group that went to Washington, D.C. And among the many persons that we were able to spend some time with was Congresswoman Janice Hahn, who very graciously hosted us for lunch in the Congressional Dining Room, which is a special treat. So I want to thank her for that. But the main reason that I went to see Janice is that I knew that there was some pending legislation that was about to come forward, and I understood it come forward just this last week. And it was legislation that is going to correct the situation at Fort Hood, where those men and women that lost their lives or were seriously injured and their families that are suffering are not going to be treated as though it was workplace, violence. I asked Janice to keep an eye out for that legislation to come forward, and unfortunately I can't remember the name of the congressman that did put it forward, but I'm sure it'd be easy to find. And I asked her to please sign on as a co-sponsor and support that. And I would ask each of you to contact your congressmen and women and senators, and you tell them that these were men and women in uniform, on duty, and they lost their lives or they were seriously injured, and they've got no military benefits for that. They got no military recognition for that, no Purple Hearts, no insurance, and we have to make that change. The men and women who serve are not always in combat, but they are serving their country. And I hope you'll all support that, and I know Janice will go back and be part of that. There's another group here that was in the color guard procession. There's a group of men, shipmates of Mike's and I, and brothers, and they were on the USS Frank E. Evans, and it was a ship, United States Naval ship, that was operating in support of the war in Vietnam, and had the misfortune of being in a tragic accident that took the lives of numerous men, sailors on that ship. And because they had crossed out of what was considered to be war zone, they also never received anything. So for more than 40 years, these few men that walk today have been remembering their lost shipmates And that's another thing. If you're serving this country and you're serving those men and women who are on the ground or in the air or in a combat zone, I just don't see where the borders come through. So let's support them too if we ever get a chance. Thank you. We have, as most of you that have been here for many years know, we have the part of our program which we think is the celebration. We celebrate the service. We celebrate the lives, even those lives that are lost. Sure, we have mourned them. We want to celebrate how they lived, and we don't want to forget that. And so that's why we do so many things that bring a little joy to our heart with the music and the marching. And I know there's a lot of you men and women veterans out here. I'm always glad that there's not a recruiting sergeant at the end of that parade, because I know I'd sign up again, and that would tick my wife off big time. So anyway, we also then like to have what we call the solemn remembrance, and we're going to start that now. So first of all, I'd like to invite to the podium Chaplain Nathan Grasser for the benediction.
Please pray with me according to your faith tradition. Gracious and holy God, on this Memorial Day, this beautiful morning, we pause to reflect upon our blessings as a nation and the high cost of those blessings. We offer our prayers of thankfulness and gratitude. Thank you for the freedom we enjoy in this country, for the opportunities to flourish, and for the security of our land. Thank you for those who have served in the armed forces in this beautiful country, risking their lives for our liberty. Thank you for those who have given their lives in service, sacrificing in such a costly way for the sake of others, for the sake of us. We pray today for the families and friends of those who have given their lives in service to our nation. May they be comforted in their sadness. May they be reassured that the sacrifice of their loved ones contributed to a worthy cause. May they be proud of those they have lost, entrusting their ultimate fate into your gracious hands. We also remember and honor those who are currently serving, both here and abroad. Protect them, encourage them, bring them home safely and soon. God of peace, stir in the hearts of the leaders of this nation. Give them a passion for peace. Bring an end to the pain, suffering, injustice, and violence in our world. We know that peace may not be in the present, but we pray for it in the future. We ask for the growth of peace throughout our world today, that fewer and fewer men and women will have to risk and even sacrifice their lives. We long for the day when the words of the prophet Isaiah come true, when we will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks, and nations shall not lift up sword against nation, and neither shall they war no more. Praise to you, God of mercy, God of grace, God of justice, and God of peace. Amen.
Thank you for doing that. All the things I've been at over the years, I always said, that the person that does the benediction or the invocation never gets a round of applause, and maybe it's the one that's the most deserving of all with those words. So thank you for automatically applauding this gentleman. We're now going to have the presentations of wreaths. So could I have those men and women that have been asked to perform this duty for us? We have Colonel Bernard Gruber from the Los Angeles Air Force Base, escorted by Eamon Zuby from our company, who will place the wreath at the Veterans Memorial. We have the Police and Fire Memorial. We have Chief John Eberhard, escorted by our employee Robert Bobich, and he will also be accompanied by Mike Thornton, our Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, and Dave Albert. We have a wreath at our St. Michael statue down below. You had to pass it coming in. We call that the Prosser Monument. We have a wreath for those that are lost at sea. And we have a World War II monument in the far southwest corner of our park.
I want to just thank you guys for coming out today and spending some time out here. This is This is a rough one, this part of it, for me, because as I look over this list that Lieutenant Thornton and I are about to read, I have some of my closest friends on this list. And for us, as we go through this, it's not just reading a name. For us, it's like you're reading someone's character, you're reading someone's memory and what they meant to you. And I would like to say that there is no greater honor for me than to be able to read this list with my friend, Lieutenant Mike Thornton.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. This is all for all our fallen comrades, men and women in arms, but it's a great honor to me to be amongst one of my shipmates and my teammates and my swim buddies. John Brown, Derek Benson, Brian Bill, Christopher Campbell, Jarrett Day, John Daldry, John Follis, Andrew Harold, Kevin Houston, and Jonathan Kendall.
Lou Langlis, Matthew Mason, Stephen Mills, Nicholas Null, Jesse Pittman, Thomas Ratliff, Robert Reeves, Heath Robinson, Patrick Spihar, Michael Strange,
John Tolson, Aaron Vault, Craig Vickers, Jason Workman, David Ziba, Keller Nelson, Mike Tatum, Gene Clayton, Mike Sawyer, Thomas Fonke,
Douglas Rose, Thomas Weber, James Curran, Patrick Feeks, David Warson, Dion Roberts, Daniel Hubman, Matthew Cantor, Kevin Ebert, Nicholas Check,
Job Price, Francisco Perinato, Christian Pike, Matt Leathers, Brett Shandles, and Jonathan Kalanka. You know, ladies and gentlemen, us reading these names, and these young men who serve us so bravely, as all our men and women armed forces do, we've lost them in less than 18 months. And it's, you know, I'm supposed to be the big bad SEAL, but every time I read one of these names, it takes a little piece of my heart away, and not counting all the ones in my 4 tours of Vietnam that I lost our brotherhood there, but in Grenada and of course the Panama and the first Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and as we continue fighting the terrorists of today. And you know, I'd like to thank all the armed services, what they do to continue to make us safe and free, ladies and gentlemen, because freedom is not free. The medal I wear so proudly around my neck belongs to every man and woman that ever served before me, is served with me in our trying times in Vietnam, and it continues to serve after me to keep our nation safe and free. And also want to recognize our first responders, our men and women in law enforcement, and our firemen, which continue service as the military does every day of their life to keep us free on this beautiful nation of America. And they're the first one to respond when we have problems here. As you've noticed, we've had quite a few lately. But most of all, I want to thank the families, the sacrifices they've made and what they continue to make. Because until you lose a loved one, it's hard for you to understand. And as Jeff was saying, these are like brothers to us. I knew many of those young men on this list. But they were not my son, they were not my brothers or my sisters, but they are a brotherhood that which y'all never forget. But also, as we remember the fallen ones in this gorgeous, gorgeous hollow ground here, I'd like to thank John and Dennis and Ray for 25 years, that they have continued to service our men and women in uniform and our fallen warriors. Because, ladies and gentlemen, not one day of your life should be Memorial Day. Every day of your life, you ought to pray to your God above and thank you that you're in the greatest country and the greatest nation in the world, and we have the opportunity to do what we do here today. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America. Thank you.
This was the best ceremony I've ever seen and I've ever been a part of, and it was a privilege to be able to attend it.
It's amazing how many people from our community are, I really everywhere, are really touched, but they come out to participate in this and just to remember people that, you know, have been so brave to fight for our freedom.
Oh, absolutely. And this is a community, a town of heroes. There are heroes on every corner, every block, throughout the peninsula and throughout the South Bay, and to come here and to recognize them and to thank them for their service. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else today.
We see a lot of the older veterans that were here that fought such a long time ago, and you can see how important it is still for them to know that people are thinking about them.
They're great Americans. They're great Americans, and thank God for each of them.
These are CJ6As. So wave to them so they know that they've been seen. I have this hat here, was given to me by a brother from Vietnam. He gave it to me last year because he said it was a new style veteran's hat. And I wore it today because he told me he's not going to be here next year. He's been diagnosed with a fatal illness, and we got a good hug. So, Your Honor, my brother. As you heard at the beginning of the program, this is our 28th consecutive year of putting on this Memorial Day observance. Pigeons, those homing pigeons haven't found home yet. So. This is also my 25th consecutive year of being up here. Many of you have been here longer than me. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a period of time where I've just met so many wonderful people. Those of you out in the audience that come year after year, of course, those we've had here participating in our program, and it's just been a super honor. There's been so many great stories that lift me up. There have been so many stories that break my heart, but they're all part of life, and I've been especially blessed to be here. Last year, we put out a survey. I think we have a survey going out here this year again, and it's real important for you to fill those out because that's how we show the other two gentlemen that have to approve the monies that go into this, how much you care. So you always answer those questions. Yes, it makes a difference if we have Memorial Day at Green Hills Memorial Park, and yes, if I have a choice, I will come to Green Hills. So please fill that out. Last year I asked you to fill out one other thing because I said I was talking about after all these number of years, time to get some new blood up here. And so I said if you did want me to stay, I could write in those surveys that fact. So I want to thank the two people that did. But since nobody said otherwise, I took that as a mandate to come back one more time. But this is my last time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Since Vivian's not here to give him a hug and a kiss, I'll do it for her.
Now, you stand forward. Jenny texted me at 7 o'clock this morning. I'm the only one that gets called Jenny, otherwise she's Jen. But she told me that she really wanted to make this special because I've been saying I was going to make this happen. I have my son, Tom. He's now with the company. He's our controller. He's going to do things far better than I did. Jenny's been putting on this event for so long, and she just keeps saying, you get up there, I got to do all this other stuff. So at this point, she's either going to have to find somebody else or she's going to have to get up here next year. But let's give Jennifer a round of applause. We have a lot of new breed here. So my son Tom, I mentioned, we have, Mike mentioned, Dennis and John, my partners for all these 25 years, and I'm still going to be around. I still pretend to work. I just, I work smarter now. I have an iPhone and iPad, and nobody really knows I'm in Italy. They actually think I'm a workaholic because I answer emails at strange times. But John's son Nick is standing over here by the flagpole. It's his crew now that keeps this park looking the way it is, and Nick's been with us for a year. We have our new sales manager, Chris Wendell. He's somewhere in the crowd here, so we got a new crop of people here. I hope they'll be doing this for you for a long time, and I'm not going away. Next year I'm just going to be sitting out there with you, and I get to be critical about how well they do for us. But I thank all of you for your support. And one little thing here that I know has upset some people, but we've checked with all the environmentalists and everything else. But Jennifer wanted me to go out with a tribute, so she's going to release a few balloons shortly. We don't believe they're going to kill any marine mammals, and the wind's blowing away from the ocean right now anyway, so they're biodegradable, so please just bear with us one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, love you all. Thanks for being here. Matt Rogers, one more time.
And remember, we all live in the land of the free because of the brave. I'm Maria Sorreo, and we'll see you next time.